I'm Andy.
I'm Kevin.
And today we're going to look around Richmond, Indiana and see what we can find out about Kevin, see what makes him tick, and obviously he's brought some fun toys with him, so let's see what you know.
So this is the DJI Mavic Pro drone. This has, he also has a name.
Yeah, what's his name?
Steve.
Steve!
So this is Steve. Steve likes long flights on the beach and volunteering in the community. That's a fact. He does volunteer in the community a lot. So this is what's helped me become that drone guy. So I grew up in the Lynn area and the Richmond area. My mother's side of the family was from Lynn. Attended Randolph Southern. I graduated in 2004.
Oh God, you are young.
I want to keep it that way.
Yeah.
I try.
Yeah.
But when I graduated, so through high school, let's start through high school. Pretty sedentary, didn't do a whole lot. Junior year, I had some friends talk me into wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, I wasn't a sports person. I was not athletic.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you have seen Bobby Hill and King of the Hill, but
The kid?
yeah, very comparable. Very comparable. And I'll get you that picture.
So, there's even a physical similarity.
Yeah.
Oh my God,
there was
that's so funny.
huge physical similarity. so luckily my friends kind of came in and saved me. And got me into the wrestling mode my junior year. And man, that was so much fun. You learn so much about yourself.
Sure.
You develop some work ethic. You have to, basically.
Well, that's an interesting. I mean, I've never wrestled, but I can imagine it's just you.
It's more than singlets. It's more than wearing the tights.
Oh yeah.
But from that, my senior year, halfway through my senior year, I wasn't going anywhere. I wasn't going to college on a wrestling scholarship. But halfway through my senior year, this course popped up, Ivy Tech, and it was Taco U, which stood for Take a Course on Us.
Oh,
so,
right. Okay, I remember that.
It was, I got them to pay for my EMT class. So when I graduated high school, I was an EMT, and have since always done that, as well as the firefighting. Became a paramedic last December. And then the drone stuff was always a great stress relief throughout all of this, coping mechanism. It's photography.
Absolutely.
So
when you say a coping mechanism, do you, I mean, being a first responder carries a level of responsibility that most people would never be able to understand or comprehend.
Tremendously. And for me, school, I feel school was more stressful. My paramedic school, it was IUPUI Eskenazi program, and it was last year. And it's about a 1.5 year program that should take almost 2 years, at least 2 years to complete.
Right.
But it was, the school part was more stressful than actually being out there, because I love being a public servant. Helping the community, hold yourself to higher standards to help the community. But so when I was in medic school, I would take my drone with me. It would stay in my Jeep, whether it was in the parking garage at Eskenazi or Riley or wherever I'm doing clinicals. I'd get a break and I would just go fly my drone downtown or over the river, take some cool pictures, and then I don't know, that just clears everything out and you go right back to your clinical or class. Or you have to have a balance, and that's not just with what I do, but in life overall, you have to have a balance.
Well, when you, I like how you use the phrase public servant. At what point was there anything in your life, or was there you just naturally came to, this is the direction I feel my life should go?
I don't think there was anything particular in my life. Now, I have heard other stories from people where, like, the fire department came to their house and when they were 5 and they seen them and wanted to be like them, and
sure.
But I don't think so. I was exposed to a young age to, like, the volunteer fire departments.
Okay, right.
So from there, I always wanted to be a firefighter. And then growing up through high school, took that EMT class, and I wasn't really sure about the blood and guts and wiping butts, but we do D, all the above.
Yeah.
But as I started doing it, I realized a couple things about being on an ambulance as an EMT. You, meet somebody new every day. Every day I go to work,
yeah,
I'm going to meet somebody new. A lot of times it's on the worst day of their life.
Yeah.
And many of those times I have bad jokes just to make them laugh.
Of course. That's pretty awesome.
So it's a lot of fun. A lot of things. It's like, I learned this on YouTube, so I'll try it. And they either laugh or their eyes get really big.
My basic low-level understanding of drone work and permission, like, you probably can't fly it over a city street.
Yeah, perfectly can. Yep.
Really?
The big thing you do have to look out for is flying directly overhead. Not so much vehicles, but crowds.
Okay.
So that you have to have a waiver for from the FAA, and you're not going to get the waiver until you have a parachute pack that attaches to it.
Really?
Which I'm going to apply for. Just because I think flying over 5Ks would be really cool.
That would be super cool. So what kind of turnaround time is there, like, when you apply to the FAA for something, whether it's a permit or whatever you would call that? How much time before they get back to you?
From the ones I have read, because there's a list online of everyone that's gotten waivers, anywhere from 90 days and further. So it can be a very lengthy process, and you have to justify why you're applying for that waiver. You can't just apply for it and say because it's cool. You have to have a legitimate reason. Like most of the flyover heads were Fox, CNN, ESPN, because they use these. So when you're watching TV and one just flies right over a crowd,
right,
they probably have a waiver and there's a parachute pack on it.
That's pretty cool.
But there is some cinematic companies out in LA that have them. So
now, to get that permission, to get that waiver, is there a fee that goes along with that?
Yeah, I haven't even looked into how much it's going to cost. Some things I just try to avoid knowing.
Right.
Yeah. But there for a while they weren't issuing any waivers. And they're still evolving. They're still changing the rules.
The Department of Improv is a locally sourced amateur improvisation troupe, and one way or the other, through your connection through Hoover, and just your keeping your eye on what's happening in your community. One way or the other, you found us.
Here we are.
Found you. So when it comes to, because you're going to be our guest on September 6th.
Yeah. I am nervous.
Well, that's kind of, you've mentioned that.
Dr. J said once a month you need to do something that really scares you. And I'm thinking this is going to take care of the whole year.
And when you say Dr. J, you mean Julius Irving?
Dr. Jetmore.
Oh, Dr. Jetmore.
Yeah.
I never thought about that. I know two Dr. J. I don't know Julie. Anyway. So what is it, what is your level of experience when it comes to performance or stage work? Well,
many beers ago, I I did the competitive bodybuilding.
Right.
So, which I don't know what you know about that, but you do have to put together routines.
Right.
To music.
You can't just wing it.
You can't just go
No,
flex
there's rehearsal
stuff. There is rehearsal. There's poses. But in 2011, I did my first show on June 18th, 2011, in Indianapolis. And these were drug-tested, mother-approved bodybuilding shows.
Oh, okay.
So, and then 2012, I did 2 more. But I was basically in underwear in front of 500 to 600 people on stage.
I never thought about it like that.
I'm gonna wear clothes to improv.
Hey,
I'm gonna wear my clothes.
We try not to judge.
But I think I do still have the blue. I think it was blue velvet panne.
Oh my God.
We called them trunks because that's a lot more manlier. But yeah, so I did.
That is an interest. I've never thought about it from the performer, from the bodybuilder's point of view.
You literally put it through the music and
yeah. Well, I hadn't considered that, so that's going to serve you well.
I do have a really cool event Saturday.
Okay.
So you know Mary Walker?
Yes.
So she's the one that connected me with the BMW guy.
Oh, sure. That makes sense.
Had me doing all that stuff. So he's coming back to town, and Saturday we're having a Gold Star event.
Oh, wow. Okay.
He's a Marine. I guess you can't really say was. I mean,
right.
I think once a Marine, always a Marine.
That's what they say.
So very cool. But he is having a few biplanes fly into the airport.
That's this Saturday.
And we're having like a closed event for Gold Star families. And he's basically like, if they want to interview, they can interview, but it'll all be part of his series.
Right. Well, that's great that he's coming back here, though.
Oh, he loves Richmond.
That's so awesome.
Before that 3-day stint, he never been here. He'd been down the interstate and seen the water towers.
Sure.
And then he comes for 3 days and actually stays in the bed and breakfast.
I remember him saying that. Yeah.
To me, it was an honor to be part of it. For Mary to reach out to me, and I got to meet a really cool guy that we talk weekly. He's came back just to have a beer at Legends or something with me. Sure. From Columbus.
Well, and that's an interesting way you bring that up. That for someone, you had a third party, in this case Mary Walker, connect you two together.
Right.
And it's, to an extent, I think that's kind of what's happening right here, right now.
Exactly.
Because you and I didn't know each other 12 months ago.
No.
And then, as we got to know each other just a little bit through the improv performances and stuff, that's what we're finding. And, one of the things that we had hoped to do by starting DIVA and by specifically placing it downtown was to find ways to make connections, to bring new people into the space. There's nothing more rewarding for us than to have someone that none of us know come into our space.
Oh, for new friendships.
Exactly.
There's nothing better in this world than creating friendships like this. I was excited, so I seen your stuff, and then really good friends with Andrew Hoover. So I seen the flyer. I knew Andrew Hoover was part of it, and $7.50 for local entertainment. That's funnier than hell. Can I cuss on here?
Yeah, you can cuss on here.
That's funnier than hell. Oh, and it's addictive to watch it.
It makes someone feel good, and it's like you said, for $7.50.
And it's local. You're doing a lot for Main Street, so it's a win for everybody. I'm a millennial. I love everything on an app, on my phone, less material, quick reference.
See, that's the thing. It's I'm like a Generation X kind of guy, but I don't understand the argument of kids these days, they can't even read a map.
Well, I tell you what.
It's like, one, whether or not that's true, I'm sure the same thing was said about, kids these days, they don't even know how to shoe a horse. It's every generation's going to have that thing. not everything is needed, I suppose, but let's be honest. I mean, the digital information age that we're living in, that you've grown up in, that you won't know anything different, why would you not use the most efficient way of gaining information, especially with what you do for a living?
You're exactly right. And here's my opinion on that is I would much rather the Generation Xer say, you don't even know how to read a map. I'm going to show you, but I also want you to show me how to use that app.
Yeah, right.
And learn from each other. No, not on the job.
No, right. It's like, so what's your problem today? It's like, I'll be right with you. And it's suddenly like this weird first responder version of Cyrano de Bergerac.